guys, how's it going? Happy Friday. Welcome back to Damian. I'm back with a Mr. Nightmare video for you guys today. 3 very creepy true Craigslist horror stories. If you're wondering why it's already Friday the 17th and I'm still like sniffling and I'm still, and I'm still kind of sick, it's because these are all pre-recorded several days in advance. So hopefully by Friday I actually am fine, but as of right now I'm still sniffly and not the greatest in terms of being sick, as you guys can obviously hear. So, just heads up. Starting. So yeah, Mr. Nightmare videos are getting really long. So this is 31 minutes and 32 seconds. Plus I just woke up a little bit as well. Yes, it's 3:17 p.m. and I just woke up a bit ago. Do not judge me, okay? So yeah, very creepy true Craigslist horror stories. Again, this is 31 minutes and 32 seconds. I don't think I've seen a Mr. Nightmare video this long before. Darman, easily. I've seen like 40-minute Darmans, I've seen long Darmans, but this is a long video for Mr. Nightmare, super long. And it seems like they're trending upward, which is not good, so maybe, he's trying to get more in there, but I don't know why these stories are so fucking long. That's easily 10 minutes a story. 3 stories, 3 minutes, that's easily over 10 minutes for each story. So we're gonna see how this goes, but just hope I can get through it because this is a super long video. This is going to be at least a 40-minute reaction. So love that for us. Anyways, let's get started, guys. Anonymous, of course.
I'll choose to be anonymous with this because it's pretty embarrassing, and also putting my name out there tied to this is likely a horrible idea. There was a Craigslist ad posted in 2017 by a guy named Jackson. He was advertising free lodging for a girl who would watch over his house and clean. Basically an au pair or nanny without having to watch any kids.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so looking for a girl to house sit. Yeah, that makes sense. This ought to go swell.
I'll just be honest that I kind of lost the will to do a lot when I was 21. I had 0 relationship with my parents or sister, and I only had a handful of friends who I could trust. I dropped out of college my first year, part of the reason my parents hated me for a while, and I was working a dead-end job at a vape shop. I like to just refer to this period as my attitude era, and when I saw Jackson's Craigslist ad, it really caught my attention. It had like 10 pictures of his house. It looked like a modest middle-class house, slightly old-fashioned honestly, but I was into that. The pictures weren't what got my attention the most though. It was the fact that free living was offered for a nanny-type position. No background check required. I didn't even ask my family or friends their opinion on this post before I just decided to reply to it. Like I said, I wasn't exactly talking to my parents or sister at the time anyway. I texted the number on the ad, and this Jackson guy responded within a few minutes.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of sus though? Like, he doesn't care about a background check, he doesn't care about this, he doesn't care about this. Like, that's just giving off huge red flags right away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just starting this video and like you're already fucking up in a sense. Like, yes, I get it, you get to live there for free, but it's like, at what cost? Like, who is this person? You don't know who this person is.
I expressed interest in the listing and just asked some basic questions. He had an answer to everything that honestly made me feel more interested, but he asked pretty early on in the conversation what my gender was. When I said female, it almost seemed as though his responses got longer. I honestly didn't care. Most people tend to prefer having a female housekeeper or nanny anyway.
I guess
I was
that's true.
still interested. Anything that got me out of my parents' house. He said he wouldn't be home most of the time during the day, but he wanted to come home to a clean house, and that he also wouldn't mind coming home to a cooked meal from time to time after work. Honestly, I was cool with that too. If it meant free housing, hell yeah, I'll cook some food.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Like how much does it cost to live somewhere? You know what I mean? Like, so if all you gotta do is clean a bit, make sure the house is okay, and then cook a meal from time to time, that's a win, right? But again, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
He's standing in the wage cage of the vape shop. Plus, he also said he'd pay for the groceries. It was sounding almost too good to be true.
There
He
it is.
suggested I come by later that day to check the place out and see if it's a fit. I said okay. A few hours later, I was on my way in my crappy little Civic to the guy's house. It was in a perfectly normal side of town.
At least you have a car.
The block actually seemed pretty calm and peaceful. The neighboring houses had flowers and decorations outside, suggesting the neighbors were normal too. Good start so far. I went to ring the bell, and when the door opened, I was greeted by a man larger and honestly older than I had pictured. I had pictured this regular 45-year-old dad-looking guy. Instead, it was a man maybe 60 years old, 6 feet tall, gray beard, and a little overweight. He greeted me with a smile and went in for a hug, even though we had just met. And honestly, the amount that he laughed made me feel pretty at ease.
I would just shake his hand.
He showed me around the house. It was a 2-story house. The first floor was your basic kitchen, dining room, and living room setup. Then the upstairs was 4 bedrooms and a bathroom. He only showed me the guest room that I'd be using and the bathroom upstairs, though. The other door stayed closed. He said if I ever needed to use the office across the hall, I was welcome to. Down the hall was his room and another room that he didn't explain. I was surprised to hear there was only 1 bathroom. Then there was the basement. He said it was unfinished and that he doesn't use it for anything other than working out and doing laundry. That was the end of the tour. He didn't show me the backyard that day. I told him I wanted the job, and he told me I was hired. 2 days later, I came back with my stuff. I told my parents I got an apartment when they asked where I was going. I didn't explain anything more. The first night there was when I noticed the cameras. No, they weren't hidden. At least, I don't think they were supposed to be. They were just small black cameras mounted up in the corners of the living room and the kitchen. It made perfectly normal sense to me. He was letting basically a stranger live in his house.
Yeah, so in that case, it does make sense. Like, you're letting a stranger live in your house. Like, you want to make sure your house is safe, you know? Like, you want to make sure that this girl doesn't start stealing or start doing stuff she shouldn't be. But at the same time, you also want to you're in the same situation. Like, he is too, but this is his house and everything. But at the same time, you're also in this scenario too. You don't know this man either, right? So it's also kind of iffy on your end too, right? Because then you don't know anything about this man either. You don't know anything about the neighborhood. You don't know anything about what's going on.
Wasn't that crazy that he'd want some security? Still, I wish he had mentioned it. That was the first time I felt even slightly weird about the situation. If you can't tell, I really wanted this to work out. That night when I went to bed, I noticed how much noisier the house felt than when we toured it. I could hear the wood floors creaking every once in a while. At one point, I swear I heard what sounded like a door closing somewhere downstairs. I checked my phone, and it was around 1:30 in the morning. Again, I came up with a reason for this in my head. When you're laying in silence trying to sleep, you pick up on more sounds than you would when occupied by something during the day.
That is true.
Plus, every old house makes sounds like that.
That is
The next
mostly
morning,
true.
He was already gone, like he said he would be. He had left a note on the counter with a list of things he wanted done. It was normal stuff. He wanted me to do his laundry, vacuum the floors, wipe down the kitchen, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's all pretty basic. And then you have like, what, 8 hours to do it? That's great time, right? Assuming he works 8 hours. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to do your nasty laundry. Like, I don't even know you like that. Like, you're an old man, you know? Like, I don't do your, like, laundry. Like, it makes sense doing, like, it for family, maybe even friends, like, your partner, of course, but, like, some random old man. Because I don't know how old this female is, but I'm assuming she's, like, 20 to 30. Maybe she's older, I don't know, but I'm assuming she's 20 to 30.
I tried to just focus on the fact that I wasn't standing behind a vape counter all day anymore. I did his laundry first, then I cleaned the floors and wiped everything down. After that, I went back upstairs and started setting up the bedroom more like my own space. I unpacked my clothes, set up my laptop on a small desk, and put a few
Is there a camera in the bedroom? Is there a camera in the bedroom? Please look out for that.
personal things around just to make it feel less temporary. I remember thinking maybe this could actually work out. I was actually being positive. After I finished everything, I just relaxed for a while and watched YouTube videos on my laptop. Not hearing my parents yelling downstairs or having one of them burst through my bedroom door barking orders at me was a breath of fresh air. The first week actually went pretty normal.
I feel like moving out is always like a big step because it's like you're moving out. Like, I'm 26 and I'm still haven't moved out, and I want to at some point just because, you know, like, you love your family, but at the same time you want to get out of here, you know? So, but of course you got to get money, you know, like, I have money saved up and everything, but that can be gone just like that, right? Like, it's just, plus I need to buy a car. I don't have my own car yet. So I gotta get a car, I gotta move out, like, that's gonna take that's gonna take a bit of saved up money, of course. You gotta find a good place, you gotta find your, you know, make sure you have a decent paying job, which it's okay, I guess.
At night when he got home, we would talk a little, like about basic stuff. It never really got deep. He asked about where I grew up, what I wanted to do eventually, stuff like that. I cooked dinner a few nights in a row, and he seemed to appreciate it. I started thinking maybe I just overreacted about the cameras and the weird feeling, but it didn't all stay happy and peachy. One night, I made pasta with chicken and some vegetables. I tried my best, but I'm not some housewife-type star chef. I was some young, angsty goth girl. When he got home, he looked tired and irritated. He took one bite, and his whole face changed. He said it tasted bland. I said sorry and offered to add some seasoning or make something else, but he just kind of snapped. He said something like, if I was going to be living there for free, the least I could do was learn how to cook something edible.
I mean, damn, bro. I mean, the guy has a point. Like, you are living there for free, so I can't even really judge the guy. Like, you are living there for free. And again, like, rent itself can be like, what, like $1,000? Without even utilities and stuff. So it's like, you don't even pay for the groceries. So it's like, yeah, like, you're having it pretty good. So it's like, at the same time, you understand the girl too, though. Like, she's not some famous chef over here, right? But at the same time, the guy wants this because he has a girl living there literally for free. So it's like, you want, you know, I get that he wants what he wants. I'm not gonna lie. I get that he wants what he wants. You're living there for free. It does make sense. I can't lie.
He pushed the plate away and stood up.
Yeah.
And he told me to clean up the mess I made in his kitchen before he walked away toward his bedroom. It caught me completely off guard. It wasn't even just what he said. It was how fast his personality seemed to change. He had seemed so easygoing before that. I cleaned everything up quietly and hoped that he had just had a bad day and nothing more. Everyone has bad days.
100%.
The next morning, I actually apologized to him. I didn't even really think I did anything wrong, but I wanted to keep things smooth. I told him I was sorry about dinner and I'd try harder. He just laughed like it was nothing. Then he said something that made everything weird. He said maybe I could make it up to him by cleaning the house in my underwear that day. He said it with a smile like it was supposed to be funny.
Oh, God.
I remember just kind of freezing for a second because I didn't know how to respond.
Yeah, here we go.
I told him I wasn't comfortable with that, to put it lightly. He just laughed again and said he was joking and told me to relax
No, you're
before
not.
he went to bed.
No, you're not.
I remember standing there after he left, feeling really unsettled.
I know he's saying it as a joke, but he was low-key hoping that she would say yes. Obviously, that's what, like, we're not stupid. Like, we know what that means. Like, you say it, and then you see the reaction, and then, oh, they like it? Okay, yeah, period, yeah, go ahead, do it. But then it's like, if they don't like it, I was just joking. No, you weren't joking. That's what you wanted. You just hoped that she would say yes, and that would be because she's saying she's uncomfortable with it. Now you're playing it off as a joke. I know how it works.
It was the first time I really thought maybe there was something off about him beyond just being moody. That was the first time I texted one of my close friends about what was going on. I told her about the living situation and what he said. She immediately told me I was insane for staying there. She told me to leave as soon as possible. I didn't want to, though. As weird as it was getting, I still felt like I had more control over my life there than I did living with my parents. Going back there felt like failing again. The next Monday, I was leaving the house to go buy groceries with some money he had left for me. As I was driving, a car behind me started laying on the horn. I thought I did something wrong driving, but it kept following me. I pulled over because I started getting scared that something was really wrong. The car pulled up behind me, and a girl got out. She looked around my age. She walked up to my window and asked
Oh, she's gonna, like, warn you or something.
if I was living at that house. When I said yes, she immediately told me I needed to stay away from that man. Apparently, Jackson wasn't even his real name. She said she was the girl who had the same arrangement before me. She told me she eventually realized he had cameras watching her constantly. She said she started noticing he knew things he shouldn't know. She said when she tried to leave, he made it very difficult and kept asking questions about where she was going and when she was coming back.
Never.
Then she told me one night she woke up and saw him leaving her bedroom. That part made me physically sick. Then she told me the worst part. She said he didn't even have a job. She said he lied about going to work every day, and she eventually realized he was still somewhere inside the house most days.
Oh my God.
I just sat there trying to process it. Every little weird thing suddenly started making sense. I asked her how I could leave without causing problems. She told me to act completely normal, to start slowly taking important things out so he wouldn't notice. She said when I leave, I should make it look like I was just running errands. She told me not to confront him and not to let him know I knew anything. After she left, I just sat in my car for a few minutes trying to calm down before going back. When I walked back into the house, it felt completely different. I felt like I was being watched even more than before. That night, I checked the room carefully like she suggested. She was right. After a few minutes of looking around, I noticed something small on the top shelf of the closet. It was pushed away into the corner. When I moved a box, I saw a tiny black lens pointing outward through a small drilled hole. I just slowly put the box back like I didn't see it. Needless to say, I didn't sleep at all that night. I looked at the darkness of the room, wondering what I'd gotten myself into. And honestly, I'm glad I didn't fall asleep that night, because at some random crazy hour in the night, I heard my door creak open, and I flipped to my side and looked at the door. It was Jackson. He noticed me look at him, and he apologized for waking me and closed the door. What the actual was that weirdo planning on doing?
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing in my room? Like get out of my room, bro.
I needed to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, I started my plan. Every day, I would bring one small bag of stuff to my car. Just normal things and nothing obvious. 3 days later, I left while he was at work, and I never came back. Though, if what that girl told me were true, who knows where he actually was? Maybe in the house somewhere. He texted me later asking where I was. I told him I decided to move back home and thanked him for the opportunity. He kept texting, asking why, and saying I should at least come talk to him in person. I never responded again. About a week later, I noticed something that still bothers me. I got an email notification saying someone had tried to log into one of my old accounts. The login attempt was from the same town his house was in.
Mm-hmm.
I changed everything after that. I don't know what his real intentions were, and honestly, I don't want to know. Nothing technically happened to me, but I really believe if I stayed longer, something eventually would have. If you ever see deals like that, offering free housing from strangers online,
Too good to be
just
true.
remember, nothing like that is ever really free.
Damn, that was the longest story, 12 minutes. Okay. I mean, yeah, like, it's true, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you really gotta be careful what you get yourself into, you know? And, like, then, like, you know, like, you shouldn't be afraid to move out to your parents' house or something and be like, yeah, I fucked up, you know? Is what it is, that's life, right? Like, you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna make bad decisions, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen, right? So, there's no shame in, you know, having to move back home, even though your parents may make it seem like, oh yeah, I told you so, or something like that. But it's like, yeah, you're gonna move out eventually. You know, like maybe you just weren't ready, or maybe that wasn't a good deal. You know, like stuff happens. You know, like you shouldn't have to be scared of moving back, or you know, feeling like it's a failure. But anyways, yeah, the guy. I figured there was a camera in the bedroom when she was setting up, like 10 minutes ago. I feel like I was like, check the camera for any rooms. Check the room for any cameras. Anyways, that's story one. Let's see what story two. Let's see what Nick got for us.
I hired her sometime around the beginning of last fall. I work long hours and live alone in a 2-floor house I bought a couple years ago. It's pretty small, and yet still more space than I really need. And I started realizing I was falling behind on keeping it clean. Maybe I needed a girlfriend to keep the place clean at the time. No matter how much I told myself I'd get to cleaning the house.
I'm sorry, you wanted a girlfriend just to clean the house for you? That's not why you got a girlfriend, bro.
I never seemed to be able to. One night after work, I was just scrolling Craigslist and other similar sites, and saw a listing for house cleaning. It was just a simple post saying independent cleaner, cash only, flexible schedule. I figured why not? Maybe this was what I needed.
So really similar to, you know, what we just had in story number one. But again, this makes more sense. Like, you're not getting a girlfriend just to clean the house for you. Like, you're getting an actual housewife to clean, or a house person, you know, which makes more sense.
I emailed, and she responded the next morning. She said she usually did apartments, but was fine doing houses too. We agreed on a day she could come by while I was at work. She asked a few normal questions, like how big the house was and if there were pets. I told her no pets, relatively small house, and that I lived alone. Looking back, I wish I hadn't mentioned that last part so casually. She came the following Thursday. I met her quickly before leaving for work, and yes, before you ask, I hid anything of value in my lockable closet before leaving. She looked to be maybe 38. She seemed very quiet. She didn't really make eye contact much, but I just figured she was shy. I showed her around quickly, all the rooms I wanted her to clean upstairs and downstairs. I told her she didn't need to worry about my office room. She asked where I usually keep the cleaning supplies, and I showed her the laundry room. She asked if she could come regularly every couple weeks. I said maybe. I wanted to see how this first time went. Before I left, she asked what time I usually got home from work. I told her around 6 or sometimes closer to 7, depending on traffic.
I guess that's a decent question to ask, but it's kind of like, because this girl already seems kind of like sus and fishy, it's like, well, when did you get home from work? Just so I know, when I can stop stealing stuff. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it sounds like. So it's like,
At the time, that didn't seem weird, since she probably just didn't want to still be there. When I got home that night, the place honestly looked great. The floors and counters were shiny, and everything smelled like cleaning products. I paid her what we agreed, and she left. Nothing seemed wrong. For about a week, everything was good.
okay.
Then it started. Maybe 6 nights later, I woke up around 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm not a great sleeper, so this wasn't unusual. What was unusual was I thought I heard a soft thump from downstairs. It sounded like maybe something settling or one of those random house noises you hear at night.
Now, this is what I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't want to live alone for this reason. Like, if I hear a noise at like 4 in the morning, I'm gonna like flip the fuck out, start crying. I'm gonna flip the fuck out, bro. Like, I cannot. Like, I'm not gonna live in a house actually. Like, I'd live in like a condo or apartment or something, right? But at the same time, it's like, if I hear a noise, I'm gonna assume it's somebody else. But then, like, what if someone's at my door at 1 in the morning? I don't even know what to do. Like, you know what to do. Obviously, call the police if if someone's like trying to break in or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like I would shit bricks, bro.
Put simply, I ignored it, as most people do when they hear these sounds. A couple nights later, I woke up again, and this time, I heard what sounded like a cabinet door closing. Again, I just assumed I was half asleep and imagining things. I didn't go check. I definitely wasn't going to go walk around a dark house at 3 in the morning over something that was probably nothing. I wish
Probably
I did.
nothing.
Over the next week, I started noticing small things that felt slightly off, but not enough to really alarm me. One morning, a kitchen cabinet was open a few inches. I figured maybe I left it that way. Another time, a chair at my dining room table seemed pulled out slightly. Again, I assumed I must have done it without thinking. One Saturday morning, I noticed the downstairs bathroom hand towel felt damp. Stuff like that kept happening. Small things that you could always explain away if you want to. Then the nighttime sounds kept happening. Always soft enough to explain away. Once it sounded like a single slow footstep, but I convinced myself it was probably the wood floors adjusting. I started sleeping with my bedroom door shut instead of cracked open like I usually did. I didn't really want to admit I was getting uneasy, but I was. One night I woke up and was almost sure I heard movement right outside my bedroom, like pressure being shifted in the floor. I still didn't get up. I just stared at my door, waiting to see if the handle would move.
Okay, yeah. So in this situation, it's like you obviously have to see what's going on. Like, you obviously have to like investigate. You know what I mean? Because like you've heard sounds so much that like you're starting to close your door now. Like, it's not even like a normal thing now. Like, it's becoming weird. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta check something out, right? Like, at what point do you check?
Yes, I was starting to get that paranoid. But nothing happened, and eventually I fell back asleep.
Bro.
The next morning, I felt stupid for even being scared. I checked the house, and everything looked normal. Around this time, I texted the cleaner again about coming back, since overall she did a good job, and I figured maybe I was just stressed from work.
What do you mean come back? She's already been there, bro. She's already been there. She was outside your room last night, bro. It's her.
She came again another weekday while I was at work. It was the same routine. I left the back door unlocked for her. When I got home, everything looked clean again. She asked if I wanted to schedule something regular. I told her maybe once a month. Anything more than that seemed like a waste of money to me. About a week after that second cleaning, I started noticing food seemed to be disappearing slightly faster than it should. Like, I lost my mind one night, swearing to myself that there was at least one more yogurt cup in the fridge the previous night, and now it was gone. Bread slices seemed lower than I remembered too. I still was trying to explain these things away though. But one morning, I found a glass in the sink that I was almost positive I hadn't used. I lived alone and was single at the time, so there really wasn't anyone else it could have been. At one point, I wondered if maybe I was doing these things half asleep and not remembering.
Oh my
I even
goodness.
Googled stuff about sleepwalking. Things really changed one night when I woke up and clearly heard slow footsteps downstairs. I know what footsteps sound like compared to house settling noises. These were steps. I grabbed my phone and stopped to listen for a sec. After maybe 10 seconds, I heard what sounded like something lightly bump into a wall. I didn't go downstairs. I know some people might think that sounds stupid, but fear really does make you freeze sometimes instead of act.
Oh, I got it.
Maybe I was picking flight over fight before even confronting the situation. I just stayed in bed, sitting up for half an hour, not hearing anything again, and finally convincing myself it was nothing. And looking back, I look at myself as a coward for that.
Yep.
Morning.
Like, I get it. Like, you know, like, you don't want to really confront this. Like, you know, it's the middle of the night. Like, you're not really trying to confront this random person outside your door or, you know, downstairs. But, like you said, there's someone clearly walking. I know the difference between this and this. Okay, so why aren't you taking any action then? Come on, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like you're not, like, you're kind of fucking up right now. Like, you're not checking anything out. Like, there's some stuff that you should check out. You know, because, like, I'm not going to, like resort to calling 911 right away, because then, like, you never know what it could be. Like investigate a little bit. Like, take a peek. You see someone that's supposed to, that's there, that's not supposed to be there. Great, police, 911. Help me, you know? That's it.
Came, and that day I checked all the doors and windows. Everything was locked. I even checked my basement, even though I never heard anything from there. Clear. A few days later, I noticed something that really bothered me. In my kitchen junk drawer, where I keep random things like batteries and takeout menus, I also kept 2 spare house keys on a small ring.
There's only one?
One of them was gone. I got goosebumps when I considered the obvious possibility.
Yep.
But I kept telling myself, no, it's not possible. I searched the whole house, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's not possible, even though you hear footsteps, you hear this, you hear that, you hear stuff you shouldn't be hearing every single day. Ever since the housekeeper came to, you know, do their thing. Yep. That makes sense.
The cleaner had been alone in the house twice for several hours each time. I started locking my bedroom door at night after that. About 4 nights later, I decided to test something. I left for work like normal, but after driving a few blocks, I circled back and parked on the next street over. I walked back quietly and went in through my back door. I stayed upstairs and just waited. Around 11 in the morning, I heard something. The sound of my front door unlocking. I heard very soft footsteps come inside. I moved to where I could see part of the downstairs through the stair railing. It looked like her, the cleaner. She just walked in like she lived here. She didn't even have cleaning supplies. She went into my kitchen, opened the fridge, took out a drink, and sat at my table. She sat there quietly for a few minutes. Then she walked slowly around my living room, looking at things. She picked up a framed photo of me and my brother and just stared at it. Then she walked toward the stairs. I backed up as quietly as I could into my bedroom and shut the door without making any noise. I honestly didn't know what to do. I didn't want her to know I was home yet. After maybe a minute, I heard her walk halfway up the stairs and then stop. I could see her shadow under my door. She just stood there not moving, as if she knew I was at the door. It felt like at least a full minute. With my mind racing, I decided it was now or never to confront her. I flung the door open, and I was not expecting her to actually already be standing mere feet away from the door, already looking at it, and now
That's terrifying, bro. Like, that's terrifying. Oh my god.
looking at me. But I quickly realized, now that I had a closer look, it wasn't the same lady. It was another Hispanic lady, yes, but her build, hair, and face were all different.
So it's like her friend. It's like it's not the actual cleaner, it's the friend. Yeah, because I didn't say that earlier. I was like, yeah, it's definitely the cleaner. But then I was kind of thinking in my head, wait, is it her friend? No, it's the cleaner. No, I guess it's the friend. Okay.
There was something so bone-chilling about her face. She had this blank, nearly angry, hateful look on her face.
Bitch, you're the one bringing him
I
out.
didn't say anything, and neither did she. We just stood there for a few seconds, before she slowly turned and walked back down the stairs like nothing happened. I heard my front door open and close a few seconds later. My heart was pounding and I was shaking I think I was genuinely too nervous and shook to move or say a word. I waited maybe 5 minutes before even moving. Dialing 911 was almost difficult with how shaky my fingers were. The police came and I explained everything. I explained there were 2 different women. I gave them the phone number and email of the cleaning lady and any other info I could provide. The original cleaning lady stopped responding completely after that day.
What a surprise.
Replaced every lock in the house that same day.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to change all your locks because she still has your keys, bro. If someone has your keys, you gotta change all your locks.
Literally, right after the cops left, I went straight to Ace Hardware. What still bothers me is the officer asking me if I had given anyone else a key, to which I told him no. He just said sometimes people like that don't work alone. I never hired another cleaner again.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, bro. Like, honestly, some people are fucked and they take advantage and I don't know, bro. Like, you just can't really trust anybody nowadays, to be honest with you. You really can't. Anyways, this last story is going to be about 10 minutes, give or take, so. Last one, TT. Please be careful what you guys do, bro, because...
It's crazy to think that 2008 was almost 20 years ago, but
Wow.
Here we are. For anybody who's too young to remember, the early 2000s were sort of like the Wild West for the internet in many ways. Back in 2008, I was in my early 20s, and honestly, I was a bit reckless. I was way too trusting, and I was the king of saying things like, that could never happen to me.
Okay.
I just never really had that sense of urgency or anxiety that others had. That is, until one spring evening, when I experienced for myself firsthand that downright evil individuals really exist in the world.
Yep.
Facebook had just started to blow up, but most people I knew were still rocking MySpace.
MySpace.
Social media was a thing, but not like today. We had all heard horror stories about the internet, but nobody I knew actually cared. Or more accurately, we were all just incredibly ignorant. I bring all this up because perhaps the most insane thing about the internet at the time was a little website called Craigslist. Now, I know Craigslist is still around, but it's nothing compared to what it was back in the early 2000s. We didn't have websites like Marketplace, so if you wanted something, you went to Craigslist. We could find and purchase anything from small trinkets to vehicles and everything in between. You could even find work or odd jobs for some extra cash. I had heard from friends who used Craigslist all the time that it was the greatest website ever. They swore by it. I never had any interest in visiting the website until my life started to unravel a bit in the spring of 2008. I was living with my girlfriend, and with almost no notice, she dumped me and threw me out of the house.
Wow.
Thankfully, I wasn't living on the street or anything like that because I had friends who would let me crash at their place. I spent the immediate days after the breakup trying to find...
Like, why did she kick you out, though? Like, did something happen? Did you do something? Like, something obviously must have happened, right? You don't just get kicked out by your partner out of nowhere.
in my own apartment, but it was proving harder than I thought on my $7 an hour salary.
Oh my god, yes,
One
$7.
of my friends, whom I had previously mentioned, who swore by Craigslist, told me to check it out for possible houses or even rooms for rent. I may have been reckless and ignorant, but surprisingly, that was a hard pass for me. I don't know why, I just didn't love the idea for some reason.
Good.
However, I did start looking for furniture and items to eventually fill
I know this is based in 2008, but holy crap, this monitor, oh my goodness, bro, that's
my
crazy.
place whenever I had a place to fill, since she kept everything after the breakup. At first, it was like a treasure chest of goods. I could finally see why people loved Craigslist. I literally could find anything I needed. I was finding deals left and right. My buddy had a massive garage that he allowed me to store my recently purchased furniture in until I found my own place.
Okay.
One afternoon, I was looking for a love seat or a small couch to store in the garage. I found a post from a guy named Keith who was selling a whole sectional for $45. He had a picture with the posting, and it was a smaller sectional sofa that could fit in most living rooms. Not to mention, it looked like it was in great shape. The price seemed too good to be true, but as I said, I was ignorant, and I just saw a cool couch and a low price tag. I messaged Keith, and to my surprise, he messaged me back almost right away and told me the couch was still available. He seemed friendly and trustworthy. Well, as trustworthy as anyone can be over messaging on the internet. He told me that he had gotten a new job in another state and he was just trying to sell, hence the low price. The reason seemed good enough to me, So we exchanged numbers and set up a time to meet that evening. A meetup that would go on to traumatize me for years and open my eyes to the horror that exists even in our own backyards.
Damn, bro.
I pulled up to the house around 9 p.m. that night.
Why always at 9 p.m.? Why don't you idiots ever go in the daytime, bro? Like, why do you guys always go at nighttime? Like, you're trying to get killed. I swear to God, you're trying to get murdered. Like, you were trying, like, you were asking them, can you kill me, please? It's nighttime. Might as well kill me. Like, you know what I mean? Like...
A red flag for most, but not for me at the time. He told me he had some other work arrangements, so he couldn't meet until that time. Didn't seem weird to me. The house was dark. And not just because it was dark outside. Everything looked desolate. It was a very run-down street with almost no street lamps.
Oh, perfect.
There were several houses on the block, and they were all just as dark and decrepit as Keith's house.
I love that.
I tried calling Keith several
That's
times
not sus
with the
at all.
number he gave me, but I just kept getting one of those automated responses that the number is no longer in service. Just as I was about to drive away, my phone buzzed. It was a weird number with a different area code. I answered, and I was greeted with a friendly and somewhat unnerving voice. His voice was deep and almost erratic. He called me fella and started apologizing about the phone business. He told me that he broke his phone a little while ago and was calling me on his work phone.
Okay.
I was definitely a little weirded out, but not scared or...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Am I the only one that noticed that? Where's the 9?
or uneasy. I was honestly more annoyed than anything. I realize hindsight is 20/20, but at the time, when you're in these kinds of situations, your brain is just kind of working differently. I wasn't thinking about the worst. I was thinking about that couch. He told me to meet him around the back side of the residence, and he would unlock the back door for me. I didn't even question it for 1 second. I made my way to the back, and couldn't believe that it was still so dark. I figured this guy would turn on some kind of light for me. I got to the back door and just stood there for a moment. I didn't know if he just wanted me to walk inside or if he was coming outside to get me. I decided to call him again on what he said was his work cell. Instead of hearing the ring in my ear, I hear a generic ringtone coming from behind me. Not in the house, but from the bushes in the backyard.
Oh, fuck
I
that.
hate to even say this, but this is the first time I finally felt some kind of feeling that something might not be right.
Oh, finally, huh?
Keith ran out from the bushes, waving his ringing flip phone, and with that strange voice, he told me that he was getting rid of some old food and he was just coming out to greet me.
Right.
He said that he didn't mean to alarm me. He claimed that he liked to feed the squirrels and whatever other animals lived in those bushes.
Okay,
I
but...
told him it was fine and that I just wanted to see the couch so I could be on my way. In a cheerful voice, he said, "Of course." He skipped by me, almost stumbling as he passed me. We got to the back door, and it looked like he was struggling to open it. When he told me to meet him in the back, I just assumed that he was going to be opening it from the inside of the house. I didn't expect him to be trying to open the door from the outside.
Exactly.
This was the first time I got a good look at Keith. At least as good a look as I could get in the limited light. He was older, but not old. I would say maybe late 50s. He was really skinny and had long white hair that was pulled back in a nasty ponytail. Worst of all, he smelled like a dirty ashtray full of cigarette butts. He pulled away from the door a little bit and asked if I could help him get the door open. He said sometimes the door would stick, and he was embarrassed that he couldn't get it open. He told me to just use my shoulder and push the door as hard as I could. At this point, I knew something was wrong.
Oh, finally,
I was already
huh?
in the moment and was just kind of going with the flow. I grabbed the doorknob and lowered my shoulder into the door. It didn't stick at all. In fact, as I lowered my shoulder to push it open, someone from the other side opened the door. I had so much momentum now that I lost my balance and fell to the floor. When I hit the ground,
That was all the plan, bro. That was all the fucking plan.
I heard Keith yell, "Now!" In the dark room, 2 other people emerged from each side and held me on the ground.
Oh my
I
god.
started to squirm, but it didn't matter. One of the guys holding me down was huge. Keith started to kick my face. One of the worst parts of all of this was the sheer darkness of the situation. I couldn't see anything, and that made everything feel so much worse. I could feel my body starting to get weak from Keith kicking me. He told the other guy to grab the tape, and I heard the sound of tape ripping.
Oh, fuck.
I couldn't even imagine what they planned on doing. What happened next is probably the closest thing to a miracle that has ever happened to me. During the struggle of me falling and being held down, I accidentally dialed my friend, the friend that I had been living with since the breakup. The sounds of him yelling hello were coming through the phone loud and clear. I decided to yell, "I'm in the back of the house, come and help me." Clearly a bluff. I was alone, but I wasn't sure if these guys knew that. I was hopefully trying to scare them into thinking I had someone else in the car with me. The big guy eased his grip and looked at Keith, who had stopped kicking for a brief second. That second was all I needed. I was able to free myself, and I ran out the door and back to my car. I could hear them chasing me, but I didn't look back. I shut the car door and locked it immediately before starting it. Just as I was peeling away, I saw the big guy clearly for the first time. He was bald and had one of those patchy beards. His eyes were the worst part. They were dark and looked lifeless. He was trying to open the door even as I was driving away. I just kept driving. I drove for hours before I went back to my friend's house. I was scared that somehow those guys were going to follow me, and I didn't want them to know where I was staying. I called my friend back and told him everything. I eventually called the authorities, but it was too late. The post was gone, and apparently, the cell phone was some sort of track phone, and Keith ditched it. I gave them the best description I could, but as far as I know, Keith and those two other guys are still out there in the world. What scares me every time I think about that night is when I think about their intention. This wasn't just a robbery. He lured me in with a $45 deal. Whatever these monsters wanted, it wasn't just money. It was so much worse. I start going down a rabbit hole in my mind, thinking about what could have happened if I hadn't somehow escaped.
No.
As I wrote this story, I'm well aware of the stupid choices I made along the way. I'm just so thankful I'm here to tell it.
Yeah, like I said, some people gotta learn the hard way, you know, and I don't know, bro. Well, these comments are gonna be good, bro. I already know this. There's an alarm that might go off downstairs in about 2 minutes, so I might just ignore it until I'm done the video, and then I'll go turn it off. But maybe I needed a girlfriend to clean my place. A grown man that can't clean his own place is crazy. I'm sure he can, he just doesn't want to, but if you can't even clean your room without getting a girlfriend, then you're never getting a girlfriend. Yeah, that's true. The girl in the first story has the survival instincts of a Pringles chip. Don't trust free housing from random strangers on the internet. Duh. I'm not gonna lie, everyone in this video sounds like the type of person who would die first in a horror movie. And not even by the antagonist, but by their own choices. That second guy could hear a blood-curdling scream in the middle of the woods and somehow try to explain it away. That's normal. That's normal, bro. Story 1's homeowner should hire Story 2's cleaner. Yeah, that's true. Craigslist is a Mr. Namer classic. Maybe I need a girlfriend to keep the place clean. Bro, piss off. Bro, get a girlfriend because you want a girlfriend, not because, like, just get a housewife then, or, you know, like a house person. Chick in the first story only trusts a few people, then pulls a stunt like that with the internet rando wild stuff. Third guy has the survival instinct of a baked potato. These comments are great. The woman in the first story is definitely the first person to die in a horror movie. 2732, I can't. If a sketchy dude comes out of bushes saying he was feeding squirrels and you still listen to him, it's just natural selection at that point. Yeah, it's like you actually trust that? Like you actually think that he's feeding squirrels in the bushes? Seriously? Like, why are you in the back anyways? Like, I just don't understand. After so long, we get more Craigslist horror stories. That last story, you had all the warnings given to you by God himself, yet you didn't flee. I mean, like, I was gonna say the guy in the third story is kind of smart, not the victim of the story, but the guy that was kind of like, yeah, can you help me open my door? Because obviously he was trying to bang on it, because obviously there was someone on the other end holding it. And then when the guy heard, oh yeah, you know, can you hit it for me now? Then he obviously backed up, and then he obviously flew in the house just like that. So in a sense, that was kind of clever. Again, the victim should have known way before then that was a setup. But the guy in the second story is that kind of person who, if someone tried to kill him, he would try to rationalize it and start to apologize to attacker. The first story had red flags that the first second truly goes to show what lengths some people go to at their bottom point. Second, third guys are the kind of people who get killed right away in a horror movie. And I know what footsteps sound like. Clearly not my dude. JFK? Sorry, JFC. What the fuck does JFC mean? Just fucking care. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck JFC is. I'm thinking of KFC. Who else thought that the second story was in the perspective of the man from the first story? A survival instinct of a fart. It's not funny but when he said I was thinking about the worst, I was thinking about that couch I died. Oh god. Now this is vintage Mr. Nightmare. I cannot wait to watch Gator's reaction to this. It's gonna be great, bro. When something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So before I end this video, I know this is about Craigslist and Craigslist only, but when it comes to like dating apps, when it comes to like hookup apps, please be careful with that too, because this is honestly how people get robbed. People typically meet up, I feel like, for hookups in the evening and the nighttime, which is normal, I feel like. That's totally normal. But meet the person in the daytime first. Like, you know, like 9 p.m., yeah, let's meet up now. It's like, why, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've done it. I can't lie. I've done that. So, yeah, you gotta be really careful. You gotta, like, make sure that person's real. You gotta, like, but that's the thing. Even if you see a photo of them and then you make sure they're real, that doesn't mean they're not a psychopath. Like, yes, you can confirm, okay, at least the person gave me a real photo. Like, it is actually this person, you know, it's not some other random, like 50-year-old dude. Like, it is actually this person. Great. But does that mean that you're scot-free, that you're not going to die no more? No, they could still be a psychopath, bro. So yeah, all I'm saying with that is just be careful, because you just never know who people are. And every time I watch stories like this, it makes me think, oh, I made some bad decisions myself, bro. Of course, like, there's still some, you know, like, steps that you take to ensure safety, but you really got to be careful. Like, let's say you're meeting up at someone's house, great, send that address to your best friend. My friend makes me do that. So, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be safe. Please be safer and smarter than the three people in these stories, because all of them just seem self-inflicted at this point. So 46 minutes of me looking at stupid people. Love it. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Deuces. Peace.